Apple Card is the credit card created by Apple. You earn 3% daily cash back up front when you use it to buy a new iPhone 15, AirPods, or any products at Apple. And you can automatically grow your daily cash at 4.15% annual percentage yield when you open a high-yield savings account. Apply for Apple Card in the Wallet app on iPhone. Apple Card subject to credit approval. Savings is available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility. Savings accounts by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, member FDIC. Terms apply.
In sports, the scoreboard doesn't tell the full story, but Netflix does. Stories about dads who happen to be world-class quarterbacks and a battle for the heart, soul, and direction of the multi-billion-dollar business of F1. Whether you're a diehard fan or you're brand new, Netflix has the stories for every type of fan. You can watch these incredible sports stories like Quarterback, F1 Drive to Survive, Untold, and many more now on Netflix.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. From your morning podcast to your afternoon playlist, State Farm knows you personalize your entire day. And that's why State Farm helps you personalize your insurance with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It offers coverage options that help protect what you care about most at an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Welcome to Scarlet's Fever, the home of Saucepan Central and Westerer is Besterer.
Hello and welcome to this week's Scarlet's Fever with me, Lee G. And joining me, as always, is Hugh Flatcap, without the flat cap this week, Hugh.
I haven't got a flat cap that goes with my new jersey. So I'm very proud. I got the St. David's jersey from this year in the post-World Cup sales because you're getting money off everything. That's the black and yellow one with this thing. Now I do have a hat that goes with it, but there's a problem with the hat. Okay. It's a very interesting hat. It's a bucket hat. It's black and yellow, but I think you'll agree with me on this, Lee. That the front of this hat is completely blank.
Oh.
No, it's blank. There's nothing on it.
How
is
there?
No, Lee. There's nothing on the front of the hat. Remember. Yeah,
but we're putting this on YouTube, mate. Can you not turn it around so we can't see it? Because that. Yeah, all right. That's a little bit better.
I thought headphones.
No, this is the problem. This is the problem. I thought this week, we'd had a really good win on the weekend. I thought, you know what? It's time to bring out the lucky berry. It's time to recharge the luck of the berry. And then I spent 20 minutes trying to work out how to put it on over my headphones.
Well, you see, this one, I mean, the thing with the bucket hat is you can flip it out. But unfortunately, if you do it with this one, the other side is a different color and it ruins the whole effect.
Yeah, it does. It looks like you're a hippie going to a festival then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Too trendy. You need to get yourself a bear in there.
We'll just have to go hatless, I think. I mean, my Scarlet's flat cap would go with it a bit, I suppose, but I wore that the weekend.
Well, talking of the weekend, was that your first visit to the park?
It was indeed.
Excellent. Because you tell everyone the story of what you did and how it went down and all that kind of stuff.
So it wasn't my first time watching the Scarlets. I've seen us at the stadium and I've seen us in England a few times because obviously me living in England, and I didn't have up until recently the means to get myself to Llanelli to watch the games, etc. But yeah, I was weighing up going to this game because I wanted to make the stance about going to the game to support the regional game in the face of the adversity, shall we say, that it's had. And I wanted to do that. So I put the post out on Twitter and said, I'm thinking of going to the game. I checked the ticket prices. They weren't extortionate. I mean, compared to international prices and things. For me, it's affordable. Everyone's got different budgets. I acknowledge that. For me, it was affordable. So I thought, okay. So I put the post out there on Twitter, and I got a very warm yes go, and I got a lot of people messaging me saying, "Oh, I live even further away from you, and we're going." Like I think Joe, one of the people who responded to me, said that they were coming from like East Anglia or something, and they were driving to Connecticut for this game. So I was like, "Oh, okay, got no excuses then."
Fair enough. Yeah.
So I made my way down. I vlogged it all, so it's on the Wrap YouTube channel. Plug. We have a YouTube channel. All of the regional podcasts are on there, and the Rugby Cymru one. It's not quite up there with the views for my rant after we lost to the Stormers, but it's probably the second most thing after that. And I got some lovely feedback from Simon Mudrak and a couple of other people as well. So that was nice. Yeah, just documented most of the driving, documented what I had from Greg's, and then
I was going to say,
myself and
Greg's could have sponsored that journey, mate, and done very
well
well out of
you
it.
know, call me Greg's. So Big M was kind enough to make an appearance because I said I was going on my own. He said, "I can't have you be there on your own." So he's come and met up with me in the barn where we watched the Wales Barbarians game on the big screen in the barn. I didn't film too much of that in the vlog because the minis were playing tag in front of us, and I didn't want to film people's kids and things.
Yeah.
But one thing that did happen is I went up to it wasn't nice weather at the weekend. I don't know if anybody was aware. And I went up to the bar thing, and I was just got in. I was like, "Oh God, well, can I have a cup of tea, please?" And she went, "What? could I have a cup of tea, please?" And she went, "No." Right, okay. And I looked behind her and I was like, "Can I have a pint of Guinness, please?" And she went, "Yes." I'm like, okay, all right. So feedback, Scarlett's tea. But no, including that even that was nice fun. And then I got to go around. I met Helen from the supporters supporters group, sorry, and got my face painted. I got a flag.
Good man. One of the little shitty paper ones.
And I broke it when we got the bonus point. I waved it too hard and it broke. So I did a bit of this, did a bit of that. Had generally a nice time, and we won. And I have a near perfect record for going to rugby matches and the team that I'm supporting win. I have never seen Wales lose. I have never seen England win.
Excellent.
The only people who ever let me down were Tonga against Scotland. Apart from that,
who are you supporting in that one? Well, Tonga, obviously, because they lost.
Yeah.
I still can't understand why Wales were playing while you were up there and you went to watch Wales Tonga, but everyone to their own, I guess.
We had the location before we had the ticket.
Did they have a Greg's there?
There's no Greg's in Nice, no.
I thought maybe that might have been the pull that kind of pushed you to one place.
No, I looked, but I couldn't find one. Actually, this is true. In the airport, on the way back, I walked around Nice airport and I was like, this place would be 10 times better if we had a Greg's. I had to end up getting this chicken Caesar thing. Jamie Oliver had this, they had this Jamie Oliver deli thing in Nice airport, and it was like 3 of them. You couldn't get anything that wasn't made by Jamie Oliver.
Maybe he's just, actually, he does like a bit of south of France and a bit of Italy and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that kind of fits, I suppose. So, yeah. So you enjoyed the day then, mate?
I did enjoy the day. I would like to go again. It is a bit of an outlay for me to go, so I probably won't go regularly, although I would like to.
Yeah. No, I think it was good. I'd say the feedback on your video, the reactions to your video, I thought was superb. It's and a very well put together video, by the way, mate.
Thank you.
The little edits and the little sounds and all of that kind of stuff. Very impressive. So I'd say even Senor Mudrak was impressed by it. So yeah, who knows? Fingers crossed and all that. Right. So I watched the game on Radio Wales. Because I gave up on Viaplay after last year.
It's a bit, yeah, it's a bit of an own goal that it wasn't on either S4C or BBC Wales, to be honest. I know BBC Wales were covering the Ospreys game on Friday night, but it's a derby. Come on.
Yeah, but none of the derbies are on telly. That's the point. The whole point is to drive people into the game. And like I said, I've got my own reason for not going. But yeah, I listened to it on Radio Wales, and Chris Horsman was the expert. And of all the experts to actually talk about the game, Chris Horsman actually talks about the game. I can't understand why they haven't put him on telly, because he is superb. He's one of the few people who can actually give like an independent view. Like most of them, they're either Cardiff or Ospreys players, and
Yeah.
they give it.
It's a good point, actually. When was the last time that a Scarlets player was a pundit? I can't think of any now.
No. Jonathan Davis
Obviously,
was technically a Scarlets player.
yeah, but he's best
Cardiff.
known for Neath, though, isn't he?
Yeah. And then Cardiff, when he came back from pro, he was Cardiff. So Scott Quinnell is the only guy really.
But they treat Scott Quinnell as a bit of novelty, don't they? They're like he's a bit of they treat him as a bit of a pantomime figure, I feel sometimes.
Yeah, because he gets really enthusiastic about it. He's
got a
very
thick accent and things.
Yeah, but he's a bit like Grav used to be. He's very, come on, he doesn't sit there and go, oh, how was the game? Did you enjoy that? He's go, oh, that was fantastic, wasn't it? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
He's got that enthusiasm, and I love it when he's on there. I love it. Even when Wales were getting pasted, he was still very, come on, we've got this. This is the one. This is the game that we turn our season around. And everyone was going, yeah, but you said that last week. Yeah, but this week, this is the one.
Who did Alfie play for?
Cardiff.
Oh, shit. I thought he played. No, okay.
No, he was Bridgend, and then Cardiff, and then Toulouse, one of the French.
I think it was Toulouse.
Yeah, one of them lot out there.
Yeah.
And then rugby league, and then anyway. So yeah.
So this is our new campaign. Then get more Scarlets on telly.
Or me and you. I think me and you being on a telly, mate, and Martin when he eventually gets it. It'd be. Martin is going to join us, by the way. He's in the middle of a very important meeting with important people saying important things about important clubs. So yeah, he will be joining us at some point, and hopefully, fingers crossed, someone from the supporters club will be joining us this evening. And if they can't make it this evening, then that'll be next week that they do. Or we might do both. They might be able to join us tonight and next week, which would be nice. So yeah, there's a lot of positivity came out of that weekend, man, wasn't there? There was a lot of positivity.
Well, the world looks different when you win a game, doesn't it?
It does. That's why it doesn't look very.
It's as simple as it gets. Sports fans, that's what we're like. I'm not sorry.
Yeah, no, there should be a rationalization for it, shouldn't there? But there isn't. It's like, yeah, we won. I don't care. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
Right. So before we talk about the game and all of that malarkey, we said we were going to pull the community game stuff to the front rather than keep it at the end and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to run through the community fixtures for the weekend, which, in all honesty, with the weather in West Wales, there weren't that many to report on.
So can I just, before you go through all of the cancelled games, I'll just very quickly mention Llandovery, because they beat Bridgend. I think it was on Friday night, I believe. But either way, they won. So they're still in touch at the top. Quins were cancelled, so we won't talk about them. Next two games for Llandovery are the top two in the league. So currently, Pontypool and Newport are first and second. I think Newport are first. But the next two home games for Llandovery are those two. And that's on the next two games on the bounce. And the S4C YouTube, and they might also be on S4C Telly. We'll share, or at least I'll share, or Pirate Rugby, or someone will share the links to the games. Or if you're able to go down to the games and cheer on the boys, go ahead. Obviously, with the way that the leagues work and with the finals and things, it's not vital that we finish top, but it would be nice because they are big games, and it'd be nice to show the support and that we do care about these clubs. In my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we had Llandybry on a bonus pod a while ago. Martin had a really good chat with, I think it was a first team secretary or something like that. So somebody who
Gareth.
Yeah, and it's good to actually get to know the clubs. Do you know what I mean? Because even when you visit the clubs, like I played in Llandybry a couple of times, and to me, it was always a weird club because of where the clubhouse was and all of this kind of stuff. But and they've done some development and all of that kind of stuff since then. But yeah, for me, it was weird to have such a big club kind of tucked out the way and all of that kind of stuff. But it's good to know some of the stuff about the club. So we are trying to do more of that stuff in between all the other stuff that we're doing as well. So yeah. Anyway, let's start in the West, because I know the way the West works. And it absolutely pissed it down up until Saturday morning. And then Saturday morning, it actually started drying out, which is weird. But when you looked at the window at 2:00 and you went, yeah, we could play in this. And then if you stood still too long, you realised that you were like standing in 2 inches of water and slowly sinking.
When I was driving down, there was a wall of grey cloud across the sky, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" Like the game, it didn't actually rain during the game, I don't think.
No.
Before you start, can I just ask a quick question?
Go on in.
What is the speed limit on the M4? Because the sat nav said 50, and there was 50 signs everywhere. No one was doing 50.
Yeah, so through Port Talbot, from Port Talbot through to the Swansea turnoff. So as you're coming into Port Talbot, you just come over the Port Talbot Bridge, or the first Port Talbot Bridge, and you can see the thing on the right. And then just after there, goes into a 50, and it's a whatchamacallit, it's a average speed zone. So they clock you going in and they clock you going out. And I think it's about 5 miles in between the two. And did you average 50 across there and all that kind of stuff? So once you go down the hill and swing around the corner, then it goes back into 70. So, but quite often with the weather, they do put the 50 signs up. But like you say, nobody listens to them then. But
I went as fast as the person in front of me was going. So
did they have flashing blue lights? Right, let's have a look at Championship West then. So Narberth didn't have a game last weekend. So Crumach played Ammanford. Ammanford came out on top 28-27 in that one. Newcastle Emlyn hosted Llangennech, and Newcastle Emlyn lost that fixture 25-8. I'll just do fixtures as well at the same time. So this weekend, Crumach will host Maesteg Quins. Narberth are back in action against Llangennech. That is going to be a cracking fixture. Newcastle Emlyn travel to Ystalyfera. So that Narberth Llangennech fixture is in Narberth. That's going to be a good game. That's top of the table stuff, that is. Because Llangennech have been playing really well. Looking at Division 1 West, then Bury Port and Aberystwyth fought out an 11-10 game. Aberystwyth just edging Bury Port. That's a good win for Aberystwyth, especially down in Bury Port. They're not an easy side to beat. And then Whitland got tonked by Hendy 28-17. And this weekend, Whitland are away in One Eyelid, and Aberystwyth should be playing Gowerton, but Gowerton are playing in the Cup. So that takes precedence. And so they're having a week off. Why not? Sit back, relax. Division 2 West then, Carmarthen Athletic against Tenby was postponed. No surprise there for anyone that's played on a Carmarthen pitches. Fishguard and Croix, same thing. Anyone played on a Fishguard pitch? Fishguard pitch is weird. It drains really, really quickly because it's like, it's like 100 meters from the sea. It's literally, it's not far away at all. And I reckon that depending on whether the tide's in or whether the tide's out, depends on whether the ground is waterlogged or not. So anyway, Fishguard game was cancelled. And then local derby, Milford 15, St Clears 28. St Clears are on another good run this year. So fixtures for this weekend then, Lampeter play Fishguard, Mumbles host Milford, St Clears host Ammon United, and Tenby welcome Nantgaredig in the West. Okay, Division 3 West. So surprised by the score in this first one. Abereyron 57, Pembroke 0. That's just shocking. That is really, really shocking. Cardigan continued a good run, but they still lost 18 points to 20 at home to Haverfordwest. Langham had a good win at home, 26-12 over Llanybother, and the Neyland game and the Quins game against St David's and Larne, respectively, were both postponed due to waterlogged pitches. Fixtures for Division 3 West A for this weekend then, Haverfordwest host Langham. That's just a fist fight with a white ball thrown in the middle. That's a brutal game, that is. Larne host Cardigan, Llanybother host Abereyron, Pembroke host Neyland. That's another fist fight waiting to happen. St David's host the Quins. Now, Quins travelling away to St David's. I can speak with this with some confidence that has to be a fancy dress away trip. Yeah. Every time I played for the Quins away in St David's, it was written in the sand that was a fancy dress fixture. So I'm not having any of boys. I want to see the photos that anyone that plays in St David's, it's a fancy dress fixture, but especially the Quins has got to be fancy dress fixture. And last time I did it, it was Hawaiian. So it would be good to see a Hawaiian theme for that one. Okay, over to the east. So in the Premiership then, Aberavon against Carmarthen Quins, like you said, was cancelled. Bridgend 13, Llandudbury 36, as you just said, mate. And then also Llandudbury hosting Pontypool this weekend. Carmarthen Quins make the trip up to RGC. Championship West, we've already said Ammanford beat Crymych and Llangennech beat Newcastle Emlyn. Fixtures this weekend then, Brecon host Ammanford and Narberth host Llangennech, as we just said. Division 1 West, Bury Port and Aberystwyth, covered that one already. Felinfoel against Kidwelly was postponed. Pontedillais, Llanelli Wanderers was postponed. And we've already covered Hendy and Whitland. Fixtures for this weekend, Gorseinon host Felinfoel, Kidwelly host Hendy, and the Wanderers host Bury Port. That'll be a good game, Wanderers against Bury Port, because there'll be an almighty punch-up in the first 10 minutes in that one, I can guarantee it. Division 1 West Central, Brynaman game against Morriston was postponed, and this weekend, Brynaman host Skewen. I'm glad I'm not in the east, mate. Go on, Bennett. There's tons of them. There's bloody loads of them over here. Right, Division 2 West. So, Carmarthen Quins Tenby postponed. Ammon United lost 21-18 to Pontebaron. Nantgaredig beat Mumbles 24-20. Cup game at Croix was postponed. This weekend's fixtures, Lampeter Fishguard, Lucha host Pontebaron. Nobody likes Lucha. Ammon United travel to St Clears, Nantgaredig travel to Tenby, and Carmarthen Athletic travel to Croix. Okay, Division 3 West B. Betis and Tumble was postponed. Cefneithin dished out a bit of a hammering to Penygroes 57-0. Llandeilo, Llanderby was postponed. Llangadog, Tramsaran was postponed. And then Tregaron lost 33-17 at home to New Dock Stars. Fixtures for this weekend in Division 3 West. Binya, host Randelo, Llangadog, host Betters, Udog Stars, host Ken Nathan, Pennagroes, host Furnace, Trinsaran, host Thunderby, and Tumble, host Tregaron. We're still not done. I can't believe that we're still not done with this. Right, hang on. Back up to the top. Oh, that's why Martin's got all the youth fixtures in. I'm not doing youth fixtures. Christ alive, we'll be here till Christmas. Division 5 West Central then. Fall Bay and Ponty Yates is postponed. Seven Sisters and Pennabank was postponed. And Pantafonan had a bye. Fixtures for this weekend. Ponty Yates host Cumgrach. Rigos host Pantafonan, and Pennabank have a bye this weekend. Woof! Blimey. So there is a whole load of stuff on there about the cup, which, to be fair, Martin puts a hell of a lot of work into this. I know I kind of I skip through it quite quickly.
Well, Martin does his threads, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he does a thread kind of leading into the week. So if you don't follow Martin on Twitter, I suggest you, because he's really good at this.
At Big M5. At Big M_5.
There you go. See, that suggests that there were 4 big M's before him. Do you know what I mean?
It's the number of kids he's got. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that.
But it's yeah. So Martin covers all this, and it's kind of we did it like a couple of times before, but Martin's really kind of passionate about this stuff now. So yeah, if you're involved in the community game in West Wales, East or West Wales, Martin is the guy to follow on Twitter, and we share stuff that, well, he usually tags us anyway, so we share it anyway. So yeah, and one of these days I'm gonna get him to do like a YouTube thing, just him staring at a camera talking about the community game. That's gonna be a hard watch of this, but yeah. Okay, so
full stop on the community game. It was nice to see the Scarlets boys wearing their Club of Origin jerseys in the captain's run, particularly Foxy, whose one looked very nice, even though we couldn't quite figure out who it was. We think it's Whitland Schools. Could
be, yeah, it could be. It was blue with a red and white stripe, wasn't it?
I think it was. I can't be bothered to look it up. I think it was grey with a green and red stripe. Whatever. It was nice. It looked well posh, and he Foxy looks good at the best of times, and he looked particularly good in this one.
Yeah. Well, we'll come on to the game after, but I thought he was definitely on the subs bench, wasn't he? And he didn't come on, so he must have been there as
No back subs were used. Archie, Titcombe, and Foxy didn't come on.
Which is odd. It's odd. I mean, it worked because we won, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, okay. So let's have some huge magic numbers. I like this bit.
Okay, with my magic numbers this week, I'm going to make an accusation.
Right.
So, everyone knows that I love my stats. So I was having a peruse of the URC stats website, which is good, unless it's not. It's a little bit. All stats websites are hit and miss. The World Cup one that World Rugby did was extremely hit and miss, and the URC one is similar. But I'm accusing, get this right, Red Army Pod, hosted by Kaylin and Patricia, of infiltrating the URC stats website to the following effect. Leading points scorer, Keith Earls. Where else are we? Meters gains, top, Keith Earls. Carries, top, Keith Earls. Tackles made, top, Keith Earls. He's starting to pick up a bit of a pattern here. Conversions scored, Keith Earls. Kick meters, top, Keith Earls. Kicks in play, top, Keith Earls. I think that's all of them.
Yeah, he hasn't really had that good a start to the season, has he?
Did I say leading point scorer, Keith Earls?
Yeah. Oh, How many points has
No,
he
he
got?
hasn't. No, it's wrong. It's been fixed. It's a fix. But I'm pretty sure. Why would you Winger be your top tackler? And I'm fairly sure that he doesn't kick for goal.
It's funny though, isn't it?
Yeah.
If somebody's hacked the website and just put like their favorite player as being top of everything, I mean that's top class. That is. That's the sort of thing that you don't mind somebody hacking a website for.
Yeah.
It's like when somebody updates a Wikipedia profile because when a referee gives a dodgy decision and then they update the Wikipedia profile before the final whistle has gone and stuff like that. It's that's the kind of stuff that you got to love. But yeah. So other than dodgy Keith Earl's statistics, have we got anything of interest from the URC last weekend?
Well, other than the Scarlets game.
Well, and anything that you want to tell us.
I was just having a bit of a look here now. Top meters kicked, other than Keith Earls, is apparently Ben Healy. Now, we know Ben Healy's got a big boot. We at the Scarlets know that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Ben Healy has so far kicked more than 1 kilometre in just 3 games. 1,009 meters, according to this.
We should find the unit of measure. You know, like on Taskmaster, every now and again, Alex Horn will measure things in like 2,000 baked beans or whatever. So we should find a unit of measurement that is ridiculous enough to be relevant, like a flagpole. How big is a flagpole? Must be 1.5 meters. So how many flagpoles has he kicked so far? Do you know what I mean? Something that's a bit different.
Right. Calculator.
Oh, crack, he's on one now. He's on one. Well, while you're doing that, this will put you off now, is because I'm surprised Harley probably has messaged you about this already to say who we just interviewed on the Rap Pod.
No.
Sam Larner.
Oh, cool. He's a Scarlets fan, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Yeah. So Sam and Harley were exchanging notes on spreadsheets. And Harley's comments were, she was going to be really jealous about this.
He has not told me about that.
He's saving it up.
I shall be messaging him after this. So Ben Healy has kicked 42.04 blue whales.
Brilliant. Yeah. See, now that's the stat that you can get along with. Is 42 blue whales laid into it. Mature blue whales, like
female
fully
blue
mature.
Whales. Adult female blue whales, which are bigger.
Right. Okay. I think we best move on to listeners' questions then, mate, because we're going to start getting ridiculous about what we can measure in blue whales. You're still looking for something to measure in the length.
No, I'm not. I'm back on the spreadsheet now.
Right. So Gareth Davis's try on the weekend was half a blue whale. He ran half a blue whale.
I can tell you, I wrote it down. Gareth Davis ran 1.2 blue whales during the game.
I think that needs to be our unit of measurement from now on. If it doesn't make a blue whale, then it's not an important.
If you don't know how long a blue whale is, Google it.
Yeah, because that's what you just did. Cool. Right, let's do some listeners' questions, mate. So after every game, we put out a tweet and a comment on a post on Facebook that just says your 3-word thoughts after that game, and it's usually Parc played well, good first half, all of that kind of stuff. There's always somebody that doesn't do the 3-word thing and gives you like an essay about, oh well, I thought this, and I know so and so did this, and he did play well, but this week was actually really good. So we also put out a message on Monday morning saying who's got any questions. So, do you want to do the question?
Well, shall I? I'll ask you then. So Leighton asks, "Hello, Leighton. Thank you for writing in." Leighton, asks, is Gareth Davis the best scrum half in the world?
And this one just went nuts. This went on for hours and hours and hours. So well done, Leighton. And I think I checked again at about like 6, 7 o'clock, and I think Leighton was kind of squaring up for a fight with someone. I think Leighton had just been replying to messages on this all day. I think Leighton had got
Ed Jenks weighed in and said yes, he is.
Yeah, and there were quite a few people saying yes, he is. And I mean, the general consensus was that if he'd have been playing for like a French side, if he'd have been doing what he's doing, like a French side or a New Zealand side or whatever, then people would be raving about him, and there'd be videos everywhere, and everyone would be all over the moon. Which, going back a conversation, listen to the bit about Sam Lana about sharing videos and all of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, he is underrated. Listen, at one point last season, he had a dip in form. He had a significant dip in form, and me and Martin were talking, well, there's some tough decisions coming at the end of the season. Does he stay? Does he go? And then he got dropped from the Wales squad, and he kind of really, really refound his spark,
It's when Gats came back, isn't it? He said that. He said, well, as soon as Gats came back, and I knew I could go back to how I was playing before, rather than how Pivac wanted him to play, which is a bit weird because obviously Pivac was coach when we won the league.
And
he said that rejuvenated him.
Yeah, but he played some of his best rugby under Pivac. I think it's more about with Pivac at the Scarlets, everyone around him kind of knew what was going on and knew what was happening,
Yeah.
And then when you get to the Wales thing, only about half of them could work out what was going on, and half of them were still playing an old style where we always do it this way, and actually now we're doing it. And it's different when you're in a club, when you're there working together 5 days a week, 8, 10 hours a day, to when you meet up as a bunch of 30-odd players once every 3 months or whatever for 2 weeks. It's a different kind of setup. So, but he's definitely refound his spark. He's definitely found something that has just turned the light on. And I thought Saturday, I think he screwed up one kick, but other than that, I thought he was pretty much inch perfect. Right.
I'll give you his stats from the game on Saturday: 11 kicks, 66 passes. Your scrum half is always your biggest passer, obviously, but you look at the gap between him and the next one in terms of how much he ran the game. Now, obviously, he stayed on for the full 80. 66 passes. I think our next top was Johan Lloyd with 13. So that's just how much Cowder was just in charge. 11 kicks, like I said, 66 passes, 1 line break, 1 try, 2 try assists. And like I said, 1.2 Blue Wales. So is it a stretch to say if he'd have been playing for Cardiff, Cardiff would have won?
He definitely ran the game. Second half, he definitely ran the game for the Scarlets. And the bit I like was sometimes when somebody gets made captain, they kind of shrink, And Gareth Davis he's quite a quiet guy as well, off the pitch, he's quite a quiet guy. But when he's on the pitch, he's a scrum half, so he is, he's all mouth and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So to actually take on the captaincy, and I thought he was quite mature in the captaincy. I think, you could see he was having conversations with players. You could see he was geeing people up and all that kind of stuff. And normally when a scrum half is doing it, they're just chopsing off and giving it all of this. But I thought I was more impressed with him being a captain than I was a scrum half. We've seen him play like that as a scrum half before. We know he can do that as a scrum half. I think sometimes people crumble under being a captain. So I was really impressed with the fact that he managed that captaincy really, really well for me on that one. So that's my bit on Gareth Davis.
Question number 2. This is from lots of people. Comments about, if anyone's not already aware, Squids Rugby, who is the biggest content creator in rugby fandom, had his epic video about the World Cup final, which is obviously the biggest game in rugby, taken down by World Rugby and given a copyright strike. So that has prompted a lot of people to talk about the use of videos and using URC videos in particular. And a few content creators have come out and said that the URC do appear to be the leaders in terms of allowing video usage and video sharing on socials. And yeah, I don't know what your thoughts on that are, mate. It's not, I haven't been in this game as long as you, so maybe I'll let you come in.
What are you saying? Yeah, I mean, for me, like we kind of know Squidge through rap and what have you. So he does comment on quite a few of our bits. So we put up, that it's just not on, and URC should be, all over him. And he said, to be fair, URC, he would do a load more with URC, and he's never had a problem with the URC. It's just time, and it's difficult for him to, there are 16 teams, that's 8 games every weekend, and it takes 25, 30 hours to produce a normal bog standard video. I think he said 60 hours worth of work went into that cup final video, because it was obviously a lot more, there's a lot more detail, there was a lot more jazz around it and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you're looking at 30 hours worth of work over 8 games. That's a lot of work to put in.
It is, yeah.
So yeah, and it's one of those things that I think if more people did start, I think more of it's to do with, you've got to have the technology to be able to do the editing and all that, and then the confidence to go and say,
yeah, and Squidge gets access to extra camera angles and things that we wouldn't if we were just watching a rerun of the game.
Yeah, but he started off same as me and you, just taking clips off telly and going, this is here, and part of it is his humor. He is quite funny when he does it as well, and all that kind of stuff. My boy will quite often refer to Johnny Sexton as something, and I go, what you call him? Oh yeah, that's what Squidge calls it. So it definitely has the effect. And I think if you listen to Dwayne Peele being interviewed after the game on Saturday with Toby Booth, and they both said about how they've had to change the way they coach younger players into smaller snippets of a video, and they were kind of describing what Squidge does, and it's a little bit more humorous, but it's got a point, and you can look at it and you go, right, okay, just rewind that bit, see what you did there, yeah, that's good, right? And so that's the way forward. And for World Rugby to take it down, he's a guy that's promoting your game, bringing people into the game, accessing people that you wouldn't have a hope in hell of doing it. He's prolonging the World Cup. It's a week after the World Cup, and inside, I think it's 6 hours, he has 60,000 views. That's 10,000 views an hour. And you're stopping that because you're going to do it? Well, your World Rugby haven't produced anything that says, hey, look at how good the World Cup final was. They produced the World Cup final, and that's it. So it's a real shame. It's a real shame. But I think it just, we were banging back and forth on this earlier. Just, the amount of work that it would take us to start making videos and all of that it's beyond our, not beyond our capabilities, but beyond our time zones, if you like. There's only so many hours in the day. So I think more people will. I think that's the way forward. More people will start doing, a Scarlet's one, an Ospreys one, a Cardiff one, and all that kind of stuff, and they'll start to grow. Same way as we have with the pod, little bit by little bit, and you grow and you grow and you grow, and you get to a bit where you go, actually, this is quite nice. So
yeah.
So there. Okay. Any other comments? Any other?
Well, that was just the 3-word thoughts was the only ones after that. So Ian chimes in with a win is a win, which is 5 words, Ian. Try again next week. Hugh, not me, a different Hugh, an uninspiring win. Come on.
Cheer up, Hugh.
People are never happy. James, a decent second half, again, 4 words.
Always it.
Paul, well-deserved win. Cool. Yeah, we're getting there now.
Yeah.
A different person called Paul. Formulate fundamental foundations.
Paul does this every week. Paul chimes in and he has there's a word for it where you repeat the first letter of each word and all that kind of stuff. I forgot what it is. Is that last? There you go. But Paul does it every week. And fair play to him. They all make sense. And you go, okay, yeah, get me. And you've managed to do that. So, yeah, congratulations, Paul. Well done. I look forward to reading what you've got to say about next week's game, to be honest.
But speaking about foundations, shall we segue into actually discussing the match?
Let's discuss the match. Yes, let's discuss the match.
Obviously, last week I went off on one a bit, and we talked about all of the issues that we had with not just the performance against the Stormers, but also the previous performance against the Bulls as well. Looking back at the stats for this one, although we won, there were some things. I'll get to being positive second. I'm going to be positive. There were still some things problems from the previous games that were still there. So we had fewer post-contact meters, fewer 22 entries, fewer line breaks, more kicks, but I think Cardiff's kicking game was better than ours. I think there were some strategies and some set moves, like I talked about last week, that they pulled off their kicks, where they kicked reclaims and then immediately kicked to the far wing and things like that, which I think really tested us. We allowed more offloads than Cardiff did. We won fewer turnovers. We had less territory, less possession. We had 2 yellow cards, and we gave away 13 penalties, which is normally starting to get to the point where it's too many penalties to give away and still win, although it's not an exact science. Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of things where there's still the underlying numbers still suggest it wasn't a perfect performance. One thing, though, I do want to add is I gave you and Lloyd a bit of stick last week for how he played, and he was definitely better in this game. Maybe he heard me and took it personally. If so, you're welcome, Johan. So he made 13 out of 13 tackles. Now, I laid into him for his tackles last week. He's made 13 out of 13 this game. I can't complain. 8 carries, 9 kicks, 13 passes. So he's distributed more than he's gone into contact, which I'm happy about. That's what I want my fly half to do. And he was 100% off the kicking tee as well.
Yeah.
So happy with Johan this week. Well done. That's kind of it. Oh, Steph Evans. So Steph Evans obviously played in this game. I had my say on Steph in our player squad ranking video. So Steph beat 6 defenders, but that translated into 0 line breaks, which is kind of what my outside worry is always with Steph, is that he's doing things, but is he doing the right thing at the right moment? And I know, Lee, you're a big fan of his. Steph kicked 6 times, but none of his kicks were really, I don't think kicking is his strength. I don't think his kicks really achieved much. And I think Cardiff were on top in the kicking battle. That's the end of my negatives, mate. What do you make of those sort of things that I've laid out there?
Well, whenever we discuss Steph Evans, and people will criticize me for this as much as they want, but I'm sticking to it. Sort your hair up, because it winds me up every single time I see him, and I just go, "Oh, come on, son, it's a disgrace." And he's not the only one in the squad, but I think for somebody who's been around a while, you can have a little bit of fun when you're in your early 20s. By the time you reach your mid to late 20s, come on, let's just have a decent haircut, Steph. I think the thing with Steph Evans is nobody really knows what he's going to do. He's one of those players, and when he's on fire, nobody can live with him. You know, he just pop in, and people are going like, well, what's he doing there? Why is he there? Oh, he scored a try. Okay, fair enough. And do you know what I mean? He's one of those kind of players. He's not got the burning pace that he used to have. And like last season, he started playing 13, and I actually thought, yeah, he's half decent. And then Joe Roberts comes along, and you go, yeah, Joe Roberts is there on that level and has got a little bit extra. Could Steph play fullback? Probably. Yeah.
I don't think he's got the kicking game for it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It was, he would need to refine what he does, or, we just build that into our game. We build Steph Evans into our game. When he was at his best, he was playing week in, week out, and it's a bit like, because he's a little bit random, you can cover that. Do you know what I mean? He's not going to be on his wing, so somebody else is always covering the wing.
I was trying to remember the other day who was on the other wing when we won the league. Because DTH was on the bench.
Guy. Yeah, Scottish guy. Oh, good Lord. Yeah, I'm gonna have to park that one for next week. It's a Scottish guy. It will come to me, but it will come to me next week after I've Googled it, or after you Googled it now. So, yeah, I mean, I think that there were definite improvements in the game. I'm going to go with the positive side of it while you Google who was on the other wing. So, for me, the positives were about the attitude.
Sanjay was on the wing and McNichol was at fullback.
Really?
According to this. Yeah.
Who's the Scottish guy?
That's in the final.
Yeah, it was a long season. Anyway, there were a lot of positives from Saturday, but I think the main one was in attitude. And that was my big criticism the week before about the attitude and the effort that went in. And you can cover a lot of mistakes with effort. And if a bunch of supporters can see enough of a team making an effort, busting a gut to get to every ruck, busting a gut to cover tackle and all that kind of stuff, they can almost forgive the mistakes because they're trying. And I think that was the issue in South Africa, was the appearance was, for whatever reason, whether it was fitness, whether it was fatigue, whether it was whatever, the appearance in South Africa was that they weren't trying. They weren't putting the effort in. And Saturday, for me, particularly front five, was about effort. So yeah, I mean, I was pleased with the game. Yes, there's, like you just pointed out, there's a load of stuff that we need to work on, and I mean a load of stuff. But if we start working on that kind of stuff with that kind of effort, then we'll start going places really, really quickly.
So on effort, so Sean Evans, I believe, played the full 80 as well, or he came off very late. He was our top tackler. I think he got 14 out of 17 tackles. And if you're a hooker, even attempting 17 tackles is a hell of an effort.
Yeah.
Ben Williams as well was playing blindside.
Yeah.
Moved over from number 8. He got 14 tackles. So that's a hell of a shift from him.
Yeah.
Also, Teddy Leatherbarrow. So that was his first ever game of professional rugby. And he almost played the full 80, but he picked up a yellow card towards the end. I'm telling you now, I was watching him. He was spent. He was done. He put in a hell of a shift. He was, I think, second or third top tackler. And he was very close to being top carrier. Oh, no, he was top carrier. For this is his first ever professional game. I think he was. That's what I've got in my notebook.
Well, that's good.
When Cardiff were lining up to take their conversion for Cabango's try towards the end, he was stretching his legs. He was finished. He couldn't run any further. And obviously, almost straight after that, he takes out, I think it was Winnett, chasing the high ball. And I think that was pure fatigue, mental fatigue, just couldn't get back any further, and it just got to him. And so I'm letting him off. Like I say, first ever pro game of rugby, he's put in a hell of a shift. And with Josh being out again, looks like we're going to be seeing more of Leather Barrow, which if he carries on in this vein, I'm more than happy with.
Yeah, and like you say, for his first game, at one point we had him, Tuipulotu, and Ben Williams as a back row.
Yeah,
I think the oldest one of those is 23. That's ridiculous. I think Ben Williams had a bit of a nightmare down in South Africa, in all honesty. But again, effort on the weekend couldn't be faulted. The guy really pulled himself together and showed what he can do, which is what we want. That's all you can ask for as a supporter. Show me what you can do. Go and give me something to support, and I'll support it all the way. And they gave us something to support on Saturday, and it was good. It was good to watch.
Yeah. Fafita as well. I said in the preview with Mar in the crowd, I said Gareth Davis and Ver Fafita are head and shoulders better than any other player on either team, and them two alone will be enough for us to win it. And obviously I've gone through Gareth Davis's stats, and he got player of the match. Fafita was our top line-out winner. I think he won 9 line-outs. Next best was Alex Craig with 6. And he ran 41 metres, including his try where he splatted Herbert De Beer like an absolute fly. And I feel very vindicated in that. 100% line-out win as well, which is not a common occurrence for us. Something that wasn't 100%. Sorry, I just want to full stop on that. Ver Fafita is it not just huge in terms of a big man, but a world-class rugby player.
And has now bleached his hair. Gareth Davis bleached his hair to go to the World Cup and is now back to his normal colour hair. Fafita comes back from the World Cup with a red card and yellow hair. I don't know what's going on in the changing rooms when it comes to hair, but somebody needs to take responsibility.
I think it's a type of fine. I think it's a forfeit for turning up in the wrong socks or something.
It's got to be, isn't it? Yeah. And there's a resident hairdresser in the opposition changing room, and if you turn up in the wrong colour socks, then you have to go and visit the opposition changing room, and the hairdresser will do something for you. I think you might have knocked the nail on the head there, mate. Yeah, I think you're right.
So line out 100%. Something that wasn't 100% was the scrums. Now, this was a bone of contention. So I know you were listening to the experts on comms, mate. Did they have a view of what was going on in the scrums?
So yes and no. I'm saying we did discuss this on RAP as well. If you look at the positioning of their prop, okay, his feet are too far back. His body position, instead of being in a bent kind of bracing position like that, it's a little bit like that, which is a really strong position to be in, except if you go forward. Because if you go forward, if you're there and then you go forward and your feet don't move, you do that. Yeah. And even if you don't do that, you start to do this, but you're still in a really strong position because you've got your second row pushing you forward. Yeah. And that's where the Cardiff prop was. So if the ref picks up that his feet are too far back and he's not actually supporting his own weight, yeah, if he didn't have the Scarlet player to prop on, can he stand up? No, he can't. He goes flat like that. Whereas the Scarlet's front row was almost absorbing that. And I think you can kind of get a feeling for it when you're in that front row, that if we give him 2 inches, he starts to sink. And if he starts to sink, I can drive him down. Yeah. And if I start to drive him down, the referee is going to call him for collapsing. And what happened was he called Matthias for driving down. But the reason he's driving down is because the Cardiff player wasn't supporting his own weight. So Cardiff player there, and he starts to do that. And Kemsey Mathias comes from, instead of being here, Cardiff guy goes there, and then it comes down like that. So it looks like Kemsey Mathias is driving him down, or it looks like Kemsey Mathias is pulling him down, where the reality is they've got different feet positioning, and depending on whether someone's going forward or going back, makes it look like one of them is collapsing. The reality is the referee looks at it and goes, I think it's probably him. Could equally be him. Referees don't really know. Half the time the props don't know. It's just somebody gets it wrong.
Yeah. So Matthias on the pitch, you could see from his face. I know props are never going to go, yeah, no, I'm getting hosed here. But you see in their face when they're like, the referee's speaking to them and they don't agree with the referee. And that was definitely in his face. Like, I'm not saying the North stands at Parc Scarlets is the most fair and biased place to get your refereeing opinions from, but I've never heard or seen a crowd get that irate over scrum decisions before, where the referee was blowing up, pinging Matthias, and the crowd was going, "What are you talking about?" Like I said, we're never going to be fair. We're always going to be biased towards the Scarlets, but it wasn't. I've never seen a crowd be that thing on a scrum. And then the number of times that the referee pinged him, but then didn't, like, it took like 5 or 6 penalties for him to yellow card Matthias, and then he didn't give a penalty try, kind of says to me that there was doubt in the referee's mind. And then just adds the logic. Let's apply Occam's razor here. Cardiff played with Seb Davis in the second row and Shane Lewis-Hughes, who's a back rower. They had Tamani, but they played him at number 8 for whatever reason. So they had 2 fit second rows, but one of them was playing number 8. And then you got Litterick. You know, when he signed for Cardiff, people saw that he'd been at Harlequins and then go, oh, he's the son of Adam Jones, blah, blah, blah. He's not. So his CV is nothing special at all. He's been farmed out to championship clubs from Harlequins, and he's only played in the Premiership Cup, which is the English development tournament. And if you look at look, you can't purely go off height and weight and things, but he's a small guy for a prop. Versus an international level loose head in Matthias, who's got proper second rows behind him. Now, I know our scrum hasn't been amazing, but if you apply logic to it, you're thinking, who is more likely to be having a hard time here? And the giveaway for me is when Matthias went off and our replacement loose head came on, the exact same things kept happening.
Yeah. And I said this at the time when he went off, replacement comes on, same thing happens, and you go, maybe it's not the Scarlet. Because if you off the pitch, if your prop is doing something wrong, particularly when you're a prop, and you know, I'm going to go on and I'm going to replace him. You know that's going to happen in the game. If you're back row, second row, you know, you might replace one of the 2 second rows. You might replace one of the back row, you know, so you can't really go, oh, I need to do this and I need to do that. As a prop, you know, you've got a very specific position to look at, and you go, I'm going to come on and he's doing this. So you prep yourself before you get on the pitch. So for him to come on and the same thing to happen says to me, either our props are thick as fuck, which I don't think they are, and I would certainly never say that to Kemsey Mathias' face, or there was something happening on the other side of that was causing them to collapse like that. And I think there's 1 or 2 things that can happen. Somebody needs to be in the ref's ear and going, hang on, ref, you know, you see it from a prop where he's going, hang on, ref, he's doing this and he's doing this and he's doing this. And the referee will go, I've not got a clue what you're on about, son. I've never been anywhere near a scrum. Somebody needs to kind of manage the ref and go, hang on, ref, he's not supporting his weight. And that's usually a flanker. And we had 2 very, very inexperienced flankers there. And I think that may well be where the issue was, where actually the flanker, you know, when you start off as flanker, you're always driving forward. You want to support your props. You're almost working a 4-man second row, and you want to provide equal support on your prop. As you get a little bit more experienced, when your prop needs to turn in and when you need to adjust your arse outways and kind of give your prop a little bit of encouragement to turn in, or whether you need to kind of give them a little bit more support going upwards or going forward. There's little bits like that come with playing the game over time that those guys will be learning now, but it may be a little bit of, they needed to be a bit more streetwise kind of stuff there just to support what was happening in there. Because Cardiff should have kicked 3 or 4 penalties that they kicked a touch and we wrecked their lineup. So fuck them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we think of the Ospreys, don't we, as the ones who play 10-man rugby? But if you look at the Cardiff stats this season so far, they are playing 10-man rugby. Like, I don't know if their centres, I don't know if Ben Thomas touched the ball. Like, they did not do much. They had obviously Cabango's breakaway try, which came from a bit of good play from Cam Winnett. I'm sorry to praise the opposition, but I am very impressed by Cam Winnett.
Yeah,
so
me too.
Far.
Yeah.
I was impressed with him for the 20s, and now I'm impressed with him for Cardiff. He looks like he's been playing the game a long time.
And he stopped a couple of tries as well. Yeah, we were attacking quite a fair bit, and we would have run in a fair few more tries if he hadn't have stopped, if he hadn't have interfered. So, fair play to the guy. He did well.
Tamani was their main one as well. Tamani was their top carrier, and he was a real nuisance at the maul. He was stopping our maul as well. And as soon as he went off, Cardiff went down a level. And I think that really helped us get over the line.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and very quick last one, Cardiff player talk. Alex Mann, I'm pretty sure it was Alex Mann, vomited profusely in the last 3 minutes of the game. Like, he at the last kickoff where Scarlets were kicking off, he was stood there waiting for it, and he just went. Have you ever seen the bit in Monty Python, The Meaning of Life, with the big fat guys?
Yeah, and it goes woof.
It was like that. It was like that. He did that twice waiting for the kickoff, and then he ran down to do something in the Scarlets half, and he did it again. But he kept playing. Fair play to him. But
he's probably taken on too much water, and it forms an air bubble in your system or whatever, and then it goes, nope, we're coming back up.
I think that's what it was. It looked like water. Water.
I've seen it before. I've seen it and it's the most bizarre thing because people, it's not like they're throwing up. Like you say, it's just like reverse drinking. It's wow, like that. So yeah, I didn't see that on camera, but yeah, I have seen it before. It's weird.
Yeah. But no, anyway, we won. Bonus point victory. Happy days.
Yeah.
Let's just bank this. So I'd say for me, the Scarlets are back. They were down in my estimations. Now they're back up again. And all they have to do is sort out their website.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the Lions this weekend. Because the Lions are coming to visit. They had a cracking game against Benetton on Sunday. I got it wrong. I thought that they were flying from South Africa. I completely forgot that they played Benetton yesterday, and then I saw the highlights of the game. Yeah, so they're only flying from Italy over. So it's not so much of a big issue, but yeah, they're still traveling. They've had a bit of a disrupted week last week, a bit more of a disruption week this week in terms of packing your kit up, moving everything over, still a little bit jet lag, all of that kind of stuff. But they're the weakest of the 4 South African sides. And if we're going to take a scalp, this is the one we need to take. So.
Yes, they are good, though. Like, they haven't won a game yet, but they've played Stormers in South Africa, and then they played Edinburgh away, which finished 17 points to 16. And then they played Benetton just this weekend gone. Benetton are going to be really good this season. And it was a hell of a finish to the game. It was for anyone who hasn't seen it, Benetton versus Lions. If you think to the World Cup quarterfinal between Ireland and New Zealand, it was like that. It was 4 straight minutes of possession with the clock in the red for the Lions, and they went from their own 22 to close to Benetton's 22 to score a try to win the game. And it was just phenomenal. It was phenomenal rugby all around. And fair play to the referee as well. I'm sure he could have seen things that he could have blown his whistle for, but he let the game continue. It was amazing defense, amazing attack, and the Lions just fell short. But yeah, so the Lions lost to the Stormers by 2 points, lost to Edinburgh by 1 point, and lost to Benetton by 5 points. So the Lions are not crap.
No.
So it is a tough challenge for us.
I'm just thinking they've gone South Africa to Scotland, down to Italy, now back up to us. I think that might be taking it out of them. Do you know what I mean? And not coming away with a win on anything might just be enough to go, oh, I've had enough, boys. I want to go home. Particularly if the weather's bad. I don't know why, but I'm obsessed with how the weather affects the game. And if they come over here and it's, wet and miserable and cold, and they're going, we could be sat at home on the beach, we could be training on the beach, nice sunshine, it's quite nice this time of year in South Africa, it's getting quite nice and warm. And instead we're in the arse end of nowhere, it's pissing down. You can't see the other end of the bloody pitch. There's bloody people won't even give you a cup of tea on the side of the pitch to warm you up. Do you know what I mean? I sometimes I think that can affect players. And I think we're on an up, they're on a bit of a down. I think we've got this, particularly if we stick with Johan Lloyd, Eddie James, Joe Roberts. Yeah.
We haven't mentioned him, but I thought Eddie James was very good. I think he's going to hold on to his spot. But that's the thing, isn't it, now? Because will Dwayne be tempted? Because he's going to have,
got Johnny Williams coming back.
Sam's buggered, obviously, which is a shame, to say the least. But Johnny Williams will be coming back. Tom Rogers will be coming back. Plumtree will be coming back. I really believe we've got a hell of a player on our hands with Plumtree.
And Lousy should be fit.
There you go.
If you put Lousy in second row and you've got Plumtree at 6, and that's no disrespect to either of the guys who played on the flank at the weekend, it is simply a case of, they're still learning the game. Here's a guy to learn from, So, if those boys come back in, I think Elias is still out injured.
Yeah, but if you look at our back row, if we go from, I don't know what Dan Davis's injury status is, but theoretically, if we go from finishing the last game with a back row of Leather Barrow, Ben Williams, and Tuapolatu, to starting the next game with a back row, back rows. Of Plumtree, Fafita, and Dan Davis. I love the young guys, but that is a hell of a back row for us.
Yeah. And if you're one of those young players coming on to replace one of those guys, with 20 minutes to go, one, you're going to be in a better position, within the game to you're more likely to be 10 points up. And two, you're almost walking into the bigger shoes with a bit more confidence. You go, you're good, so I've got to go that next bit better.
Yeah.
So, I think that's how we need to approach it now, because I think all three of them, Tuapolatu made some massive carries. He's a big boy. You need 2.5 arms to get all the way around him, and if he's running at you and stepping you and all of that kind of malarkey, he's a hard boy to stop. So I think there's a lot to be learned from some of these bigger guys about offloading and lines that you're running and stuff like that I think can only be good for the players that we got there. So I mean, I wouldn't bring Johnny Williams into the starting lineup. I'd have him on the bench. Do you then have Foxy covering the bench as well, or
no? You can't have two centres on the bench. We're not England. I'd go. unfortunately, because everyone loves Foxy, which is why I think everyone's finding it so hard to talk about him at the moment, sadly. No, I'd go Johnny Williams wearing the 23 jersey. We haven't got any other fit fly halves other than Johan Lloyd and Charlie Titcombe. So Titcombe will be in 22. And then it's between Archie and Kieran for the 21 jersey.
Hardy.
I think he'll go Hardy.
Yeah, I mean Hardy had 3 decent tries. Did he have 2 decent tries and an assist? 2. Yeah.
So the Wales' last try was all Scarlets.
Yeah, but it was a joke game. I watched clips of it and I'm like, it was like Sunday League stuff, you know. It's just nobody. You could see the referee kind of putting the whistle to the mouth and going, I'll just let that go, you know. Let's play it.
Although to be fair, the referee, I don't think Marius Maitreya got the spirit of the Barbarians game, because he was like 5-minute TMO check for an offside for a Barbarians try. I'm like, hey, that's not what we're not here to. Come on.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my question for Dwayne is, can he resist temptation in terms of bringing Johnny Williams back? I would bring Tom in to the starting lineup. I'd put him on the wing. I'd probably you'll disagree, mate, and that's allowed. I'd bring Tom in for Steph.
Yeah, no, we said when we did our squad selection at the start of the year that certain players have got something to prove, and we put them in there with something to prove. And I'll be honest, I think he's proven it. He's a frustrating player because he blows hot and cold. At the minute, he's blowing really hot, and he's a little bit like Hardy, where he only performs in the big games. And I'm like, I need you to perform in the not big games, because you may not think this is a big game, but to a supporter, every game is a big game. Every game is a must-win game, and that's what we're looking for in terms of intensity and in terms of effort. And he may well have turned that corner. He may well be going, do you know what? If there's opportunities now to kick on, he needs to secure his Scarlet's first team place. Yeah, that opportunity is there. There's an opportunity there to play fullback for Wales potentially. So he's got the opportunity there that maybe last season, maybe he felt he didn't have. So, yeah, I'm hoping that he has turned that corner and he is proving that he deserves to be there. Or we'll fuck it up again after a couple of decent performances, one or the other. But yeah, fingers crossed. He's turned the corner and he's heading in the right direction, and that's what we want to see. So, but I would definitely keep Eddie James and Joe Roberts. Well, Johan, Eddie. Let's not forget Eddie James is. I think he's 6'4". I think he's 16.5 stone, something like that. And
Mark will have it in his spreadsheet.
Yeah, and he is 20. I think he is 21, maybe.
Here we go. Hang on. Scrolling.
Getting there.
Eddie James. Here we go.
Yeah.
He is 21.
Yeah.
According to this.
Yeah.
Oh no, it'll be 22 now. Oh no, 21. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
1.93 meters, 104 kgs, which is reasonably heavy for a centre.
Yeah.
So he's a big guy.
And he's quick. And he can pass off both hands. And that's why I think he just needs a bit. He's an option. If Johan Lloyd gets stuck, and this is what I think Johan Lloyd needs to do a little bit more of, he needs to offload the ball. And he needs to go, right, Eddie, I need you there.
He can do it. We know he can do it. We've seen him. It was funny, isn't it? Because in that chat between Dwayne and Toby Booth, Dwayne said, like, oh, Johan's been bounced between positions at Bristol, so now we're just trying to get him settled into one thing, which is true. Sorry, Eddie James is our tallest centre. He is 7 centimetres taller than Foxy.
Yeah. I think he's
about 3 inches-ish.
I'm sure someone said he's 6'4". And if you put him in at second row or blindside, you wouldn't notice. Do you know what I mean?
Wales have got a lot of centres like that at the moment, because you got Llewellyn and Mason Grady, who are tall enough to play second row as well.
Yeah, and we've got one as well now. So, yeah, I think if he sticks with that combination, it'll work for this game. But also, that'll be the third or fourth game that they've played together, and you start to settle into a routine, and you start to understand a bit more. Joe Roberts and Eddie James have played together a whole load of times coming through academy and all that kind of stuff. So they know each other. They get each other. They just need somebody inside them that also gets them, and I think that's coming with Johan Mode. So it'll be good. It'll be good. Right. I think we're done for the night, mate, because we've rabbited on. We've been waiting for Martin, and he hasn't shown up.
I think he's messaged to say that he's
had enough.
Pooped, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So final predictions then. Score prediction for the game, and then we'll disappear for the night. So Lions game, what you're going to go for?
Scarlets by 2, because I think the Lions don't go away. It'll be a tough game, but Scarlets by 2.
See, now I've just done this on the bloody rap pod, so I've got to make sure that my predictions
there's no obligation to be consistent. If you've listened to all my fascinating analysis and insight, and I've convinced you of something new, and you've learned something, then you can change your opinion.
Yeah, but I'm not going to, because Jamie will absolutely crucify me for it next week. Let me see. What did I predict? Right, scroll across. I said Scarlets by 10. That's what I said. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with Scarlets by 10. Just because I don't want to have to kind of explain why I'm changing my mind in an hour after I've made one prediction. So yeah, Scarlets by 10. And I think, in all honesty, yeah, we should be good for that 10. That should be a comfortable 10. I don't think the Lions are going to push us the way that they could, put it that way.
Okay.
Cool. What was your prediction again?
Scarlets by 2.
Scarlets by 2, Scarlets by 10. Right, we'll have to get Martin's. I need to start writing these down, mate. This is what I did last year. We did predictions all the way through, and then I got to the last week and I went, I've got to go back and listen to them all so we can work out who's best. But there we go. Right. Hugh, my friend, it has been a pleasure this evening. Just the two of us. And it's a shame we haven't got Martin here to take the piss out of him, and we didn't take the opportunity while he wasn't here to take the piss out of him behind his back to see if he listens to the pod when he's not on it, which is a shame. We should have done that a bit more.
So we could get a message from him tomorrow and go, "Oh, you bunch of..."
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a pleasure, mate. And been a good week. Been lots of positivity coming out of last weekend. Let's keep it going. And we'll do the same again next week. All the best, buddy.
Thank you for listening to the Scarlet's Fever podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. Please subscribe, rate and review wherever you listen to us, as it really helps us spread the word. You can find us on all the usual social media channels or email us on welshregionalrugbypod@gmail.com. And remember, whatever the question, rugby is always the answer.
Sports Social Podcast Network.